Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, testing. All right. We are live, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Quiet Storm live training session for June the 12th. Going to be running until about 5 a.m. Central Standard Time. The London trading session just opened for trading a couple of minutes ago. And 15 minutes ago at 1:45 a.m. Central Standard Time, I already called my first 2 trades for the night. So we're going to get those posted in the chat so that people can go ahead and take advantage of those. The first of these trades is a spot cryptocurrency, Ethereum USD, Ethereum versus the US dollar. This is going to be a buy to 28.3642. Buy to 28.3642. Let me grab the parameters for this. All right, that's going to be the first trade of the night. The second trade of the night is a cryptocurrency Perpetual. It is also on Ethereum. It is Ethereum versus Tether. Ethereum versus Tether. It's going to be a buy to 28.3351. And those are going to be the first 2 trades for the night. Going back to kind of check where we are. Go ahead and get these 2 booked. Let's see. We've got Ethereum versus USDT. There we go. To 28.3351. All right, there were a few other things that popped at 2 a.m. So let's go ahead and check out those. The first of which is 1 inch USDT. That's another buy. I suppose I should get into explaining these EMAs before we start getting started. The base of the system that I use is a trading system called DeLorean that's largely based on exponential moving averages. These are the colored lines that you see on my chart. An exponential moving average is a graphical representation of the average movement of a certain number of candles. And for the DeLorean system, there are 5 different EMAs that you kind of keep track of. The first is the 5 exponential moving average. That's the yellow line. The second is the 13 exponential moving average. That's the red line. Generally speaking, when you're looking at a time frame, the 5 exponential moving average represents the relative powers of the buyer in the market on that time frame. And the 13 EMA, the red line, represents the relative power of the sellers. So in this particular case, the buyers are in control of the market on the 15-minute for 1 inch USDT. However, I do have a little bit of trepidation because the 200 EMA is over the 50 EMA, and generally that implies um, consolidation with this setup, where you have the gray, the aqua, and then the blue. Any other combination other than the aqua on the top, the gray in the middle, and the blue on the bottom, which confirms an uptrend, or the blue on the top, the gray in the middle, and the aqua on the bottom, which confirms a downtrend, generally means consolidation. So for me, looking at current price on this particular cryptocurrency, and I'm looking at resistance above where price is on the 50 EMA and the 200 EMA, it may not get there. That being said, I'm generally going to trust the system as it is, and we are going to make this call to 0.2249. So let's go ahead and put in those parameters. It's going to be a long grab this chart and get this kind of documented real quick. One second, I'll go ahead and drop this into the chat as well. I try and do a good job of keeping track of my trades as I'm getting them called. Certainly having a site like TradingView is very, very, very helpful. It's an excellent platform. By far and large, probably the best platform for trading or tracking trades that exist in the market right now. And allows you to set alerts, which I really like. Takes the fuss out of really thinking about whether to execute the trade or not. All right, so stop loss is 0.215. For 29 pips. So 2.41 risk to reward ratio. Entry price at 21.79. 0.2179. So this will be our third buy of the night. Let's move back to what we have here. So that is 1 inch. I'm going to go ahead and move it back to my active trades. I am calling from 2 different trading groups, so they both have access to this running tally. And we now have that trade booked. Let's take a look at evaluating the next up. This is Maker versus Tether. We do have what's called a Patrick pullback, which is basically a retraction of price from the original entry back into the 5 and 13 EMA, that retest, and then breaking out to the buy side. This is going to be the 2084. We'll take this one as well. Let's go ahead and get this marked up and then call to the groups. This is the magic behind the scenes that most people don't see. It really is this quick. You have enough repositions at this stuff. It becomes a little easier. So this is maker to 2084. Let me go ahead and get that called. I certainly want to make a little cheese tonight. All right. Grab this chart and throw this up on Telegram for the two groups. And we'll get back to continuing to evaluate trades. Let's just look at the chart. Really, the cleaner setup is when you want price above the 50 and the 200 or below the 50 and the 200 with the resistance on top or the resistance on the support on the bottom for a cleaner entry. But because we're dealing with the London session, you are going to have these kind of weird setups where just sheer force momentum and volatility is going to move these trades pretty quickly into profit. And of course, the magic time is normally between 3:15 and 3:45 in the morning. So as we get closer to that part of the morning, I do expect us to get a lot of activity, particularly because Wednesday is a major news day and things have been pretty much in consolidation for most of the week. So I expect a heavy night of action. Okay, so we're at a 2.52 risk to reward ratio. The take profit is 2084 even for 58 pips. The stop loss is 2003 even for 23 pips. And the entry price is 2026. Now, for those of you that are entering the trade a little bit later than when I got in, you're of course going to have a little bit of a better risk to reward ratio than me, but that is the call here. This is Maker versus Tether, MKR USDT for 2.52 risk to reward ratio and 58 pips. And here is your call. Let's go back and add this to the main list. Keep this bad boy moving. All right, this is Pepe coin versus Tether. Pepe coin versus Tether. Again, another buy. This time to 6. I believe it is now 15 minutes past the hours. We are going to be getting more calls. Again, it's going to be a heavy night. This is on a 30-minute confirmation instead of a 15-minute confirmation. Generally, that means you're going to have more pips, even on smaller cryptocurrencies. So this is 2.1 through 16. We'll go ahead and book this buy-in. This is Pepe coin. Okay, that part is done. Why is this not showing? Weird. But whatever. Let's go ahead and get this called. And both of the groups. And we'll continue to evaluate the calls as they come in. I'm purposely moving a little slower so you obviously as the night drags on and I expect the activity to increase, you'll see me moving a lot faster. That's not necessarily to confuse you, but I just need to get the calls out. It's been helpful for some of the traders that are just now beginning their trading journey or have been traders for a while and are struggling to consistently profit. Um, I've kind of broken past that point and just paying it forward. An entry price $12.55. All right, this is going to be Pepe coin. Let's go ahead and get this called. Already on the list, which is great. All right. We're already in zero on a sell. I don't really trust that retracement. And the reason being is because on the higher time frame, I know this is a sell. So if you go from the 15-minute and you look at the 4 hour, this is a solid downtrend. There is massive room between the 50 EMA and the 200 EMA. So I certainly would not be advising getting into a buy there. That to me is a bad call. Um, Looks like the tool did call out a buy on GBP, Great British Pound versus Swiss franc that hit stop loss. So this is now invalid on the 15-minute and the 30-minute, it looks like. Moving on to a call on Doge. This is absolutely a call that I would not call. Why is that? The tape profit is just above the 200 EMA, but price is below the 800 EMA, the 50 EMA, and the 200 EMA. And the organization isn't AGB or BGA. This is definitely in consolidation. So what I'm expecting is that price will continue to hover below the 800 until something causes volatility to make it spike up. But more likely, it'll continue to hover in this zone and then further decline before it finally recovers above the 800 EMA. So Doge versus Tether is a bust. Doge versus USD is a bust. This is going to continue to sell off. We have the United States dollar versus the South African rand. Again, the tool called this out as a sell. It obviously bought up and invalidated the trade. So this is bad. So you have 4 signals out. Ethereum versus the United States dollar. Ethereum versus Tether. 1inch versus Tether. And Maker versus Tether. And those are the calls so far tonight. All buys as we await the next checkpoint at 2:30 a.m. So I'm going to step away just briefly to use the restroom. We've got time, 10 minutes before anything really happens, and grab some water, and I'll be right back. Went ahead and grab myself some tea while I'm at it. Tends to relax me during a trading session. So right now, the coup de grace of the day is peach herbal tea. Nice and relaxing, and it smells great. So, looks like I've got a negative P&L right now, which sucks. But heck, that's normally what happens when you have a lot of positions open. And right now, I've got 99 orders open. So, it's not always going to be positive. That's kind of the net number of all the different trades. But when it starts to run up, it starts to run up. So I think I loaded this thing with 100 grand. What was this? 8 days ago, and I'm already up $27,351.02. So yeah. The odd thing about it is that sometimes I kind of have to explain to the bank what it is that I'm doing so they don't think I'm doing something strange. Yeah, USD ZAR really took off. Look at that. That's crazy. Interesting times. All right, so what do we got? We've got 24 minutes. Still been paying attention to the trades on France 40 and Japanese Nikkei 225. Those are two indices. We've been in them quite some time. Um, they do move a little slower than the other indices, but when trade do come up from them, I go ahead and take them. But during the time that we've waited out the France 40 and the Japanese Nikkei trade, which still haven't hit stop loss, we've hit on US 30 multiple times, NASDAQ 100 multiple times, S&P 500 multiple times, UK 100 multiple times. As a matter of fact, just this morning, I called out a trade on US 30, NASDAQ 100, and SPX 500 that all hit within 2 hours. So, for those of you that caught those trades earlier in either of the groups that I call for, you probably made your profit for the week, which is great. Um, really happy that people have been consistent with it. And that's the goal. You know, one of my goals is to help people avoid the frustration that I had when I first started trading, which is I had people that wanted to teach me how to trade, but no one that really wanted to teach me how to consistently profit. And had to get it out of the mud. A few blown accounts and a lot of frustration. And one day it just started making sense. Now it makes too much sense. So, but I talk to people about my results. They don't believe me until they experience it for themselves. I do this literally every day. I do sleep. I'm not a machine, but my results are not normal. Uh, should be coming up on a few minutes left. About 3 minutes to the next candle. Now, the half hour at the top of the hour are really where you get most of your action from because we are trading pretty much off of the 15-minute and the 30-minute. I do have alerts except for the 1 hour, the 4 hour, and the daily, but they almost never pop off just because of the settings that I'm using are more fine tuned, so to speak, to the lower time frames. You won't always get action, but you hope that when you hit those checkpoints on time, that you're going to see some opportunities. And I'd rather have opportunities I say no to than opportunities that don't show up at all. Because that's why you put the time in. But as one of the men who mentored me in the space, Tyrone, is fond of saying, we are paid to wait. And that's precisely what we did. I remember one of the things that really kind of frustrated me because I did understand the danger of not doing that is you don't have to constantly be in the market, and you only want to be in the market when, number one, you're comfortable with the amount of money that you could lose in it. And number two, when you have very healthy confirmation. So I do not enter the market blind. I don't do it at all. If I don't have the alert, I can't analyze the trade very quickly before I get in the market, I just won't get out in the market. Because I do trade so many assets, there are some times where I just physically don't bother to call everything that I could take because it would overwhelm both of the groups that I'm in. I have been kind of on a tear since May the 2nd. Um, to put that in perspective, um, 397 wins, 270 losses for a 59.52 win rate, 59.52% win rate. And since that time, we've won 1,213,700 pips and counting. And that's as of the last trade that hit take profit. So it's consistent every day. Rare are the days where we're not hitting any profit at all. And even if we are, we have a running tally of trades that are marching their way towards that end. So the goal is really to have you consistently working your way towards positive P&L so that you can kind of feel the profit hitting on a daily basis. That doesn't always work out that way. There are days at a time when you have a dry spell. But when the pips start coming, the pips start coming. Doesn't mean I'll always get this right. If I did, this would be an entirely different live. But I am consistent with what I do. So that much I can say. All right, so we are at a new 15-minute candle. Generally, it takes about 2 minutes for the alerts to get through all the different signals. If you're not familiar with what I do call all the major and minor Forex pairs. I call a good chunk of the exotic foreign currency as well. I call about 21 different spot cryptocurrencies. I call about 151 perpetual cryptocurrencies, around 41 different stocks, all the major indices, some precious metals, oil, natural gas, and I just added futures. I believe there's 41 of those as well that I'm calling, both the micros and the regular futures themselves. So there are plenty of times where a 15-minute or 30-minute mark will hit and I might get, 30, 40 signals. If it's really extraordinary, it's not uncommon that I haven't seen over 100 signals in a 15-minute time frame. Of course, Some of that is junk and noise, but it's a lot to work your way through. But because I do this so often, I'm gotten pretty good at kind of flying through it. So, yeah, there's that. So basically, we have more waiting. Um, got 12 minutes and 15 seconds until the next candle, which puts us right at 2:45 a.m., I believe. So we're still waiting. This is the call on Japanese Nikkei 225 that I was referring to. Make this small enough to see. We got in this trade way back on May the 25th, and we're still in it today. Here's the trade on France 40. Almost hit our stop loss, but did not. It's slightly in profit right now. Also on May the 25th. So it's approaching 3 weeks since we've been in the trade and still hasn't hit take profit yet on either one of those indices. They're the only two indices trade that we currently have open in the book. As you can see at the bottom, I do have 4 futures trades that are open. We call those as well. Basically, anything that's in the aqua list is an active trade. So I share those watch lists with the 2 groups that I trade for. A group made by one of my mentors, Patrick Kinney, who's the co-founder of the DeLorean strategy and also the inventor of the tool that I use to call trades now, which is kind of sort of based on the DeLorean strategy, but it's more of an institutional trading tool as well. It's just, it can be fine-tuned to make it a bit more accurate. So I use slightly modified settings to get the results that I get. Mostly changing the RSI settings from 70/30, which is the default, to 75/25, which I think cuts out a lot of the noise. I get less signals, but I get more accurate signals that way. And for the most part, if you do your due diligence, it seems to work on anything. Like I said, I'm using the same strategy to call all of these different assets and is winning left and right on all of them. I'd say the more challenging ones are probably stocks, which rarely get called with the tool. But everything else is pretty consistent. And I did do my very first live on Monday, actually. Took a couple of days off because I did an almost 3-hour live, and YouTube took it down because I made the mistake of playing my Pandora and forgot the fact that I was playing copyrighted music. So I won't be doing that again until I can kind of figure out how to find an ambiance to add to the actual stream without getting flagged. Then I will kind of talk and narrate my way through doing the lives, which is fine. I just don't talk all that much. So for now, we wait. I think as I start posting these to my YouTube channel and getting more followers and doing this more consistently, I'll probably get a bigger following. Um, about the Georgians doing it now. We appear to have action at 245. XPD USD, that's Palladium versus the US dollar. Looks like it's invalidated, and it is, which is irritating because I called buys on this for the 15-minute. So it's not that bad, but I actually ended up entering this trade wrong. Um, by entering in the wrong lot size. And when I discovered it, thankfully, it went back positive enough for me to get out of it. But what I should have done, because it got up to $37,000, is just hit the button then and gotten out of the trade. But I didn't do that, which was stupid of me. I was around this area right here, and I saw it happen, and I didn't do it. I should have. There are times where I don't necessarily wait to take profit. I just capitalize and use the equity to keep trading. That is actually a great strategy for those of you that are new to the market. You don't necessarily have to hit take profit. It is impossible to go broke if you're smashing blue. You just want the amount of money that you're taking from the trade to be more than any of the commissions or the fees taken out, and that's going to grow your account. So now you'll have more of an equity space to be able to take trades. There'll be less of a chance of you blowing your account so long as you don't over leverage. So in addition to having appropriate risk to reward ratio on every trade that you take, I know everyone recommends at least 2 to 1. I tend to try and stick to 3 to 1 or above. Um, in most cases, even 4 and above, if you could swing it. But how you, looks like Maker did the same thing, which is irritating. Well, the original one, it looks like it's about to hit her stop loss, which I'm not too pleased about. Particularly because I was in plenty of sales before these 3 trades. So, which I probably should have stayed in. That's fine. You trust what you see. So, Ethereum versus USDT is probably the deepest in the red right now. But I have a funny feeling that's going to turn itself around. Yeah. Ethereum is on an uptrend on the 4 hour. All 3 of these are. So I'm not really concerned about the short term. So we're likely going to get some retesting of the 200 EMA. And then they'll rebound to the upside. Everything seems to be selling off pretty hard right now. Yeah. It busted past Ethereum and Ethereum. Okay. So AAVE. I called that for myself earlier, and it's kind of the same play. That was definitely a buy. But something's going on in the market to make it do this. Just not quite sure what. That was Dogecoin and Dogecoin Tether, which we did not call for obvious reasons because they're in consolidation. So this particular case, what I tend to do is go ahead and just announce that these hit stop loss. I'm not going to re-enter either trade for the teams, mostly because I don't trust the way this price action is looking. And there's a lot of room between where it is now. It could enter free fall all the way to the 800. And that could hurt people with smaller accounts. So let's go ahead and simply announce that this hit stop loss and keep it moving. Like I said, I've been on a tear. It's kind of a rare instance where I've lost just back-to-back trades on something like that. But it is what it is. I don't win everything. So now it's lost 271, which brings us to 397 and 271. This brings us down to 59.43% win rate. All right, so that was Ethereum versus US dollar. We, of course, need to go look at Ethereum versus USDT. And we have the same thing there, so that's a bust. Let's go ahead and announce that. $59.29. Irritating to say the least. And I believe Maker did the same thing. Yeah. It's a rough start. Should have followed my first mind. The earlier trades I were taking during the night were all sells. And my instinct was right. Very right. So 397 plus 273, 670. It brings it down to 59.25. I believe the other one we called was 1 inch. Did it do the same thing? Yes. So we're 0 for 4 tonight so far. Oh, Pepe. We haven't looked at that one either. All right, let's go check out Pepe Coin. We have the same action. No, that one's still not hit stop loss. So I believe this was a 30-minute call. So we're okay there. All right, so that brings us down to 59.17% win rate. And now we'll wait. So I'll be a little bit more circumspect from now on. I'll tighten that up. That was not fun. Now, I was in zero earlier on a sell, and I got out of it to get in these buys. I was also in ZIL on a sell. I got out to get in these buys. I was in WIF on a sell. I got out of it to get in these buys. I was in Trump USD on a sell, did the same thing. I was in Spell USDT, did the same thing. That's actually about to hit take profit, so I should stuck to it. And I believe the last one I was in was Room versus USDT. That's also on its way to take profit. So, yeah. So, why is it that I took these trades? Pretty simple. Number one, the tool had already called the trade. You're going to go to a higher time frame, or you're going to look to confirm the entry. And what you see is a big space between 250. I know the blue is above this, which means you have all this resistance, and this is a solid downtrend. So on a lower downtrend, you just stick in the trade, it's going to hit take profit. And you just go and you can see the same pattern, same thing. That's going to just drop to take profit. With same thing. Trump coin, same thing. Spell, same thing. Room, same thing. And once you see it, you just can't unsee it. It becomes a little easier as you go along. The rest of it's just waiting. A lot of waiting. Now, the funny thing is, those trades on Ethereum Maker and 1inch, I believe they are going to turn around and hit take profit. It's just a matter of time. Um, you just have to wait for it. Looks like we already passed up another time frame. Nope. Yeah, we did. 2:45 and nothing happened. So got 3 o'clock, the top of the hour coming. Again, that real fast period that I've been noticing all year, really between 3:15 a.m. and 3:45 a.m. Central Standard Time. And that's when I expect us to see a lot of action. After that, it tends to calm itself down, except for volume until New York. I wonder how I'm doing in this contest. Horrible. These are examples of rare instances where I entered into the market blindly, and I should have done that. Should have just waited until I had alerts to confirm entries. So I'm kind of waiting to get myself out of that hole right now. But it's pretty much slowed my momentum to a crawl, which sucked. I'll still place, but it's going to be difficult for me to hit top 10 or to get where I wanted to get. But I won't make that error again. I don't know when the next time they're going to do one of these contests. It seems to be every 2 to 3 months that they do one, and they switch up the different instruments that you can trade. So it's the first time I had ever traded futures before, and I still made 25 grand so far. So you know how to trade. You know how to trade. A lot of it's just the nuance of the different assets themselves. For instance, for most things that I trade, you have pips, points, and percentage. The technical term for futures is ticks, and ticks are very, very, very different than pips. But the money you make is the same. It's all green. All right, so just under 6.5 minutes to the top of the hour, and then hopefully we see some action here. It's never fun when the night of trading is so slow, but you know, the market's always right. You can't control these things. And one thing I do know is that at 5 o'clock Central Time, I'll be logging off and then going into deep hibernation. Hmm. Hmm. Mhm. All right, 3 o'clock, top of the hour. Let's give it a little bit of time to cook up. And we'll start evaluating trades. Let's see. All right, we got one. Well, I can't really tell how many from here. Let's go to alert bar. We got 1, 2. Looks like we got a maker versus USDT. We know about that one already. Yeah. And we've got OS versus USDT. Not enthused. Price is currently below the 50 and the 200 EMA. Mm-hmm. Wait a minute. All right, we got more action. Let's see what we got here. We got a call on IOS. Let's see if I've no. Still not liking what I'm seeing here. And maybe those trades made me gun shy on the Ethereum, but they're moving slowly in the right direction. But it's not smooth. It's probably the wrong direction. Okay. So we've passed the time period where I see a lot of activity, which is basically 3:15 a.m., 3:45 a.m. with nothing really of note. The 4 o'clock hour is normally pretty quiet. So we've got three more checkpoints: one at 4:15, one at 4:30, and one at 4:45 before we end for the night. Um, I don't know if we're going to see anything more meaningful right now. Hmm. Okay. Hmm. The waiting, the waiting, the waiting. I suppose the silver lining here, we'll look at the unrealized P&L. It seems to have dropped or increased about $2,000 because it got down to around negative 7,100 when I first started trading. It's back around negative 5,100 now. So it's still in the hole, but whatever retracement we were having earlier, which made things kind of weird, appears to be wearing off a little bit. Don't know if it's permanent. Just based on what I've seen tonight, a lot of the trades that are going to be well performing or safe for today are probably going to be counter trend trades to the extent that they're valid. But because ever since Saturday, really the market's kind of been selling off, so it's time for a little bit of a retracement to the upside. There we go. So we got here. A little later than usual. Okay, it's going to take a little while to go through all the different assets. I'll show you what I'm talking about here in a second. We got euro to Swiss franc. I don't like this play. For one, price is below the bottom of the Asian market. Got this weird retracement. You have a retouch of the 200, but it's a retouch to the bottom of the 200, which is almost nearly an indication that price is going to retreat to the south a little bit more. Mhm. I think we're going to go ahead and skip this one. I don't like that setup. Six B1. Now this one I do like. Price is above aqua gray and blue, and you have aqua gray blue. This one's good. Okay. All right, so this one we will call. Let's go to buy to 1.367. Hmm. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and take this one personally, but I don't think I'm going to call this one. Yeah, man. Oh, I'm really regretting. Actually, yeah, I should have stayed in those cells. We're eventually going to get the buy side on the Ethereum, the maker, and the 1 inch, but it's a very slow sell. What I'm going to expect to happen is that we're going to continue to inch very slowly to the sell side for cryptocurrencies until the opening bell of New York and the American money coming to the market is going to flip the market positive. All right, I think we're going to go ahead and call it a little bit of a night early. I just don't. Tonight seems a little weird. All right, so 0 for 4 for the night. Definitely not the best performance. But I promise tomorrow will be better. It's been about 2 weeks before I lost just back to back to back to back trades like that. Very rare do I lose more than two in a row. So 4 in a row like that, just I don't know. It changed my confidence a little bit, I guess. Maybe a little bit more gunshot. But what I'm seeing just it just looks weird. So I'm definitely not really super trusting to the buy side from the charts I'm seeing. I see a lot of almost consolidation kind of hovering within the same range or declining very slowly. Momentum to the downside is decreasing, and you're going to have a reversal today. I think that's what's going to happen. So, be back at it tomorrow, 2 a.m. Central Standard Time sharp, for another session of the Quiet Storm. But right now, it's just super dry and unproductive. Cheers.